Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the TTOR Show. And as you can see, even though I didn't say it in the title, I brought some guests. We got none other than Seeking the Truth, the founder of Joshua TV, and Loop, and Brett Keane.
Yeah.
So we got quite a bit to talk about today, but before we get into all these topics we have on the agenda, how are we all doing today? You first, Josh.
Doing all right. Just a little pissed off about what Twitter did, but other than that, we'll get into that later.
Yes, we will. And Brett?
I've been doing all right. A lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, and we're going to talk about it.
Absolutely. I myself, for the last 2.5 weeks, have been at various fireworks tents for my church working 12, 15-hour days doing just about everything you can think of with heavy lifting, stocking shelves, moving product around, helping customers buy fireworks when we had sales days, keeping the shelves looking full during sales days. It was quite the hassle, but that's all behind me now, and we're back to the action, as they say.
Good deal.
So the first thing I wanted us to talk about is the recent situation with Laura Loomer and her attack on married women. Now, for those of you who've been living under a rock, Laura Loomer is pretty well known in conservative journalism circles because she was an investigative journalist, I think, for Project Veritas for a short amount of time before she started doing her own investigative journalism. And then the last couple of election cycles, she's run as a candidate for Congress in Florida. So she's got pretty big political ambitions, too.
And normally to the side of Twitter.
Yeah, I remember that one, too. Now, normally, I have no problems with Laura Loomer because she's a good investigative journalist. She usually provides receipts for everything she says. So I have a lot of respect for her in that regard. But what we're going to go into today regarding Laura Loomer has nothing to do with investigative journalism or any of the stuff that she covers or that we cover on our respective outlets and channels. What we're going to be covering today is a really bizarre tweeting war she had with another content creator where she unfortunately bared her soul and showed us a side of her that I've never seen before. And frankly, it's kind of ugly and sad. But let me go ahead and screen share that so nobody here has to take my word for it. Just got to go grab last StreamYard. Oh, what is this?
I've not heard about her actually in a while. She has been out of the news for quite some time.
Okay, hold on a second. It's making me do some weird stuff.
I was curious, TTOR, if you're going to be talking about the DeSantis or whatever that is deal with her.
No, I was not planning on talking about that. Can you guys see my Opera browser on screen?
No.
Oh, that's really weird.
No, it's dead black, man.
Why is it not screen sharing? Hold on. Screen share.
Opera must have made another update.
Yeah, it doesn't let me. Oh, here's the entire screen option. There we go. Website notifications while sharing. Okay, there we go. Now that we got the inception going, now can you see it?
Yeah, there it is.
All right, so I'm going to have to do a lot of reading just to set the context for what she said, because I think it's that context where it'll make what she says about married women more interesting. So the conservative female content creator, Allie Beth Stuckey, responded to a Laura Loomer tweet where she was bashing on Jill DeSantis for allowing her kids to destroy wallpaper in the governor's mansion of Florida. And Allie said in response to Laura Loomer, "It is funny and relatable. And do you even have kids?" Which inspired Laura Loomer to say this in response. "So defacing taxpayer property is funny and relatable. Are you raising your children to also have a sense of entitlement and disrespect for other people's property? No kids yet, and I'm happy with where I'm at because having kids just for the sake of producing tradwife content like you do, where you lecture people about how they should get knocked up in their early 20s with a one-size-fits-all mentality, is not how it's supposed to be done. People should only have kids when they want children and when they are content with the idea of having children. Shaming people who are responsible and don't want to simply exist for the sake of being a baby-making machine when they are pursuing their goals teaches women that they are only valuable so long as they reproduce at an early age, as opposed to determining their own worth and mapping out their own life. Getting knocked up in your early 20s like you did doesn't guarantee a life of happiness or a successful marriage. But when I do have kids, on my time when I decide to, they will certainly have manners and won't be destroying historic artifacts and historic buildings. They will have discipline. There's nothing cute about children destroying property paid for by taxpayers. There's nothing relatable about living in a mansion." To which Allie responded, having a baby at 27 with my husband was getting, quote, knocked up in my early 20s, end quote. Okay, Laura, I'll keep creating all that trad wife content I'm so famous for while you keep pursuing your goals. Thumbs up. And I hope you guys did catch in Laura Loomer's tweet she's responding to that Laura did accuse Allie of getting knocked up in her early 20s. But apparently 27 is now the new 21. Now, this was so... Go ahead, Josh. Are you going to say something?
I was just saying amazing. Amazing how women, their little cat fights, it just takes the littlest bit and then boom, they're set off.
But I thought personally it was weird that Laura Loomer would even engage in something like this until I stumbled across this tweet.
It is childish, very childish response right there. I don't know why she even, like anybody that's already raised kids, you already got, kids that are adults and stuff like that. You're way past the kids destroy things stuff. Like, this. It's just a part of raising children. And they're seeing it like the way I see it is everything is replaceable, especially in an expensive, rich, tax-paid mansion. That all that stuff's going to get replaced the minute he moves out of there anyways. So it makes the argument is just stupid to begin with. If the kids are going to destroy what inside the mansion, that place is going to get refumigated and everything by the time there's a new governor. So it's like, I don't even know what their argument is.
Well, this particular tweet I discovered later, and it actually explains pretty well, I think, why Laura is willing to engage in back and forths like this. So someone told her, Laura Loomer will probably always wonder why no one ever loved her enough to have children with her. To which Laura Loomer said, and this whole tweet was just eye-opening for me, I could have kids anytime I wanted in my current life situation. I could also be married tomorrow if I woke up tomorrow and decide I wanted to be. You don't know my life. I'm enjoying leaving a legacy and creating something of value that can be remembered by others someday, instead of rushing into a marriage and pregnancy to live a mediocre life void of accomplishment, only to be stuck raising kids who share the DNA of someone I will only grow to resent if I get divorced someday.
See,
Again,
it's something she has no clue what she's speaking about. She thinks that's how it is.
Nobody wants the baggage of being with someone who has baby daddy or baby mama drama. I'm taking my time and doing things the right way. People would be wise to do the same. Sorry you can't relate. Now, that whole tweet was eye-opening to me because she only laid out two options. Option number one is she stays single, she keeps doing the investigative journalism, politics thing, and pursues the all-powerful career that she's in the middle of right now. And by the time she dies, single, of course, she'll have left behind this incredible legacy that people will remember for the rest of time in history. Option number two is, well, you get married to some guy you don't even like, and you father a kid with them, and you raise the kid, and you become a stay-at-home mom, and you don't accomplish anything in life, and basically your life's just miserable until you die. Or at least until you get divorced, then it becomes even more miserable. Notice how she didn't give the third option of find a good man, marry him, and not only are you happy together, but he might even support you in your journalism, politics endeavors.
Exactly.
She presents it like it's an either-or option. It's either I can have a career and be single for life and leave behind this amazing legacy, or I'm just like this trailer trash, baby mama.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting out of it. I'm seeing like she's speaking of something she never ever had, any life experience in. And so she thinks this is how it's supposed to be. I guarantee the moment that she actually does have kids, all these things that she's saying right now goes right out the window. I bet you.
I would probably agree with you there. One of the things I'm getting from this, though, is, well, there's more than one possibility. Either Laura Loomer believes that all men are bad, and therefore there is no third option where she marries a good man who supports her for career and political endeavors, or she's just been brainwashed into thinking that there are no good men out there. And, I'm stuck either with myself or I'm stuck in a loveless relationship with some alpha loser who I just happen to father a kid with.
Yeah, I always kind of put her in the wacky side of the like she always seemed like a liberal to me, but she was like a conservative liberal, So feminist fits her true character. Yeah.
I think what is going on behind the scenes potentially is that she's, she just recently turned or is about to turn 30. She's got no kids of her own, no husband. And a lot of the people in the movement that she's aligned herself in do have spouses and kids and families and are living that life that, you're supposed to have as human beings.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is basically her way of coping with the fact that she can't seem to find a good man.
Absolutely.
Which to me is kind of a, well, duh, you are not just an investigative journalist, but you're dabbling in politics. You're literally running for Congress every chance you get. Men generally are not attracted to that.
And we've seen many of these types already. Like there's already these women already, that lived her life and they're in their 80s now, sit back sipping wine going, damn, I wish I would have had kids before my shit dried up. That's literally what they're doing now. They're depressed. They're miserable.
And that's what I'm getting out of this too, because I don't know if you've seen the video footage on the internet where I think like 5, maybe 6 years ago, she was caught on video at a bar, drunk off her butt, hitting on this German guy and just going off on all these tangents about trad wives and Jews and Nazis and all the stuff she was talking about. And the guy she was talking to, God bless his soul, he was just so polite to her, even though his eyes said, how can I get out of this situation?
Oh, man.
But I was just thinking, man, if that's what she's like when she's under the influence of any alcohol, no wonder she's still single, even though she's honestly a gorgeous woman. She must be insufferable to be around.
You know what she did recently that got her even into more trouble, right?
What's that?
Which one?
She attacked DeSantis's wife. The wife has, apparently, according to him, she's been campaigning with him, but she's got cancer. And Loomer decided on the same tweet within the same couple weeks, she said that she doesn't believe the woman has cancer at all, that she's just being used as a token for votes. That caused her to go into the shedder. I agree with you both. I think what we're dealing with is a young woman who hasn't had a lot of the family side of her come through. So now she's going off on women for the things she doesn't accomplish.
Right. And yeah, if she actually found a good man, which you think she'd be able to because she's a woman of high value, according to herself, you'd think getting a good man to marry would be easy for her. And she kind of bluffs at that in this tweet that you see on screen. But then she goes off on this tangent where she gives you only 2 possible options for a woman in life, and neither of them involve marrying a good man. It just raises so many questions like, do you even think there's good men, or do you think they're all taken and there's none left for you? I mean, what's going on here?
Well, that's the thing, TTOR. When you're dealing with someone who is a full-blown narcissist, they're only thinking about what is useful or good for them. They don't think about what they can do for somebody else. It's about what they can accomplish for themselves.
Well, and since you are a married man, Brett, with a wonderful wife and kids, and you've talked about them a lot in your videos before, how do you feel about this idea that a woman who stays at home and raises a family is somehow devoid of accomplishment in her life? How do you feel about that?
Well, my wife isn't a stay-home type of wife, but I think that whether it's a man or a woman that is staying with the kids and stuff while the other one is out doing things, that's For me, it's absolutely fine. I feel sorry for children where a parent is, in her case, the only thing I can give her credit for is she is like a journalist type of person. So this means she's traveling all over the place.
Yep.
Technically, she'd have a very difficult time being a good mother if she can't ever be there for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's not a good career to have if you want to have a family.
Yeah. And that's the part I think that's even harder for her, because if she had like gotten married when she was young to a good man and had kids, she would have been able to pursue this whole journalism thing later, as in now, and it would be a lot easier to balance. But now she's hitting 30 and she doesn't have a family of her own, doesn't have a husband, doesn't have kids, and that makes it even harder to, reassess your life and rebalance everything if you do all of a sudden decide to get married. It's hard to do at this point.
Have you ever considered this? I mean, you and I, and I'm sure our buddy in here, the way we look at the world and see all the dark things that are happening in it right now. As a woman, do you think you'd want to bring a child into the world as it is right now, especially with the exploitation of children going on?
Right.
Yeah, if you're a secular conservative, or a secular person who doesn't like the grooming we see today, you probably would be less inclined to want to have kids. But then again, that's exactly where Mr. Globalist wants them. He wants people to hate the idea of even having children because it funnels into their depopulation agenda.
As far as family goes, the question that you asked me earlier, TTOR, if you get the right woman and you have the right children, which I feel I have, then life can be heaven on earth. Find the wrong woman, have the wrong kids, and life becomes hell very quickly. And that ain't no joke. I'm not even being sarcastic about that.
Right, and I've watched a lot of testimony on the internet through various avenues where I've seen exactly that. People who got married to a bad spouse, had bad children, etc. And things can get ugly pretty fast and can make life pretty miserable. So there's no questioning that at all for me. But there definitely, I think, needs to be a family unit that comes in your life, especially as you get older. Now, maybe I'm just saying that as a guy where it's easier to get married when you're older, but yeah, it just seems to me that this side of Laura Loomer that we're seeing recently in regards to married women, it just makes me feel really sad. Like, I feel for her in a way where she's probably really lonely.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
think
man,
that bothers her.
I would say there's pros and cons to, pretty much everything. So
Yeah.
it's like doing what she's doing right now. That's literally the only way you can actually do it and be happy at how you're doing it. If she tried to start a family and still tried to do what she was doing right now, she'd be miserable.
It wouldn't work. And logistically speaking, it wouldn't work either. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I get that. I mean, if you're gonna be single, you might as well stay busy doing stuff. And
Exactly.
she definitely does stuff that matters. So it's not like she's doing nothing with her life, but trashing on married women who potentially could be her future voters when she keeps running for Congress.
That's
Not a good idea.
I think it's literally her jealousy. It's the slightest envy that she has that she didn't or she isn't doing this yet, and so that's women hate on each other. This is what they do. I grew up, around all these girls and everything now, and I realized women just hate each other. They really do. They're all in competition with each other.
Yeah,
there is another thing about Laura Loomer to remember. I think you both know this. She's kind of a drama queen in order to get people's attention, to pay attention to her.
Yep.
So she will deliberately say something with flames in it to get people's attention.
Absolutely.
Yep. Kind of like Andrew Torba does.
Yep.
Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't show you what Allie's response to this was. So Allie said, it's funny and relatable. Do you even have kids thing? And then she replied to her own tweet and said, LOL. Oh. And then showed a screenshot of what we just read.
Wow.
then some of the replies are like, this guy Mersch said, "My God, that got dark quickly."
Oh yeah, don't take long.
Or Jeff Younger, that's the attitude of most women today.
Mm-hmm.
Or Political Sock saying, she is very troubled. Or Bradley Richardson, who I completely agree with, this is really sad. And then, of course, we got a few crayons short doing the troll thing. She vastly overestimates the number of people who could put up with her even long enough to have sex, let alone marry. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want her to be drunk around me. That's for sure.
Yeah, it would be a little crazy. She's already borderline like sober, so I couldn't imagine.
Be like Mel Gibson in his heyday, huh?
And of course, this lovely female Twitter user went full troll and said, for the record, she is making the right choice for her. No one should be encouraging Laura Loomer to procreate. Emoji.
You know, there's actually people out there that are programmed to hate families. They hate the nuclear family, and that's just how they was brainwashed. And it's weird. It's such a weird thing to even say, because you just look back at all the history of mankind, you know, of how we populated this planet to just now reach this idea of maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah. This person named Helena Handbasket said, who needs liberals to rebuke nuclear families and family values when you have conservatives like this? They'll keep pushing the party left. Which is true in a sense, because the Democrat Party and the leftists in general, they're very much anti-nuclear family, and they would be totally against, women marrying young and having lots of children and being supportive of their husbands and
open relationships,
doing all that stuff. Yeah. So even though Laura Loomer doesn't promote those particular things that leftists do, both the leftists and Laura Loomer indirectly, or more directly, however you want to look at it, they're both going against the idea of nuclear families and family values when they condemn women for getting married and having children. It's just weird how that works out. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all we have for that. Now let's get into the tech issues that I wanted to talk about, namely the fall of Bitchute and Gab. Now, we will start with Bitchute because Bitchute was basically one of the pioneers of the alt-tech movement back in 2017. And for a long time, it was growing and thriving. And even though it was lacking some features and functionality that we were asking for, it seemed to be on the right path. Lots of people were joining it. Heck, I got into the top 5% of creators on the site in terms of subscribers and total video views. Josh over here got into the top 2% in those categories. So he was doing super well on Bitchute when it was in its prime. But then stuff started happening on Bitchute. Namely, they started censoring the search results of their new search engine. And they started censoring comments. And they started censoring people by blocking their channels in certain countries, especially in Australia a couple of years ago. And they censored Seeking the Truth. And Ray Vahey actually went to the comment sections of one of my videos about it and lied about Seeking the Truth and Joshua TV and a whole myriad of things, which if you can see in the playlist on screen, Josh and I did a whole 42-minute video talking about those things. And they had their own version of a priority creator system where only certain creators got to have a solid working video uploader and everyone else was stuck with a crappy one, although they have since redeemed themselves in that regard. And there's also the evidence that, according to Ray Vahey himself, where they censored people for a year and a half because of the Jewish group CST and OVCOM, which is that communications
money.
bureaucracy.
Money from those groups.
Yeah. And they still have a hate speech policy on their website that literally equates words to violence. And they still have a policy on their website that says that they can censor you even if your content does not violate their community guidelines. So, yeah, they did a whole bunch of weird, crazy censorship stuff. But then on top of that, Ray Vahey himself, through email, admitted to me that they were spending most of the fan donations on their office spaces
Yeah,
instead of
on
into their
bullshit in
features.
Thailand that had nothing to do with Bitchute at all.
Instead of spending it on improving the features and functionality, which is what he was telling everyone on the internet he was going to do with their donations.
Yep.
Well, if you remember,
Right.
TTR, there was another thing I was constantly complaining about. Remember, they weren't doing high definition videos for the last couple of years. Everything was 360, the lowest you could possibly go. Our videos look like Minecraft video game gameplay.
Yep.
Right. And since then, they've upgraded to where you can upload 480p videos, but still, to this day, they don't have full HD
720.
videos. They don't have
1080.
live streaming. They don't have public playlists. There's a lot of things that they promised to give us that they still, all these years later, haven't
Kind of
given us.
reminds you of the Kickstarters where they say, hey, you keep sending money, we'll make the ultimate game, but then it never happens.
Exactly.
Like if you go to Bitchute today, you won't see it now, but there used to be a little help us grow thing where it showed the percentage of their fundraising goal that they were reaching. And they used to show you every
Ridiculous.
month. And they used to show you every month how much money they had coming in every month
It was
through fan
ridiculous.
donations.
They was getting like $50,000 a month. I couldn't even imagine getting that much money.
Yeah.
I've never once had a paycheck like that in my life. Never once.
Yeah.
What the hell did he do with that?
It was like late February, early March, where BitChute was getting 55 million visits to their site in 1 month, and they were getting no, it was 50 million site visits to their site in 1 month. I think for the month of January or February of 2021, and they had roughly $54,000 a month in fan donations coming in at that point.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But then
and
after
they pretended to be broke, and they still
right.
never got live streaming or anything.
Right.
Millions of dollars.
But then what happened after me and Josh started exposing them a couple of years ago is that they started to lose funding and lose monthly visitors. As far as their fan funding goes, they actually shut off that part of the site after they lost over half of the money that they had 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, I should say. And then you go to their similar webpage today, and you can see that in April of this year, they had 18 million site visits. In May, they had 16.3 million. And last month, they had only 16 million. And considering they had over 50 million site visitors to their site a couple of months in a row back in early 2021, this is a pretty dramatic drop off they've had, not just in terms of money, but in terms of web traffic as well. And I think it's fair to say that they are approaching dead space at this point.
Yep.
If you guys don't mind me pointing out real quick to the audience out there, and especially the people who listen later, the company claimed that it's extremely difficult and it takes a lot of money to do all this, but my friend TTOR here, as well as Josh Hu, they've created video sites that are able to do everything that YouTube can do and even more in some features. And they didn't get paid $10,000 a month to do that. I myself, before Bitchute even existed, had a video site. My problem was I couldn't stop hackers who hate me wanting to spew crap all over my stuff and put buttholes up on the screen. But besides that, if three stooges like ourselves can do it, then a company that's getting paid 50 grand a month ought to be doing a hell of a lot better than that.
Right.
Way better.
Yeah, and that's
AI and everything by now.
Like my website, Quarter, which I'll talk about later in the show, I spend like 100, 110, maybe 120 bucks a month running that entire thing. And like Brett pointed out, it not only does everything that YouTube does, it does things that even YouTube doesn't do, like a insight currency that people can earn by getting views on their videos, which in turn allows them to promote their channel or videos on the main page of the site. And then, of course, there's the video chat rooms, which YouTube used to have but doesn't anymore, but Quarter does and Joshua TV does. And basically, you can do the whole video chat thing and live stream to your channel from those rooms, just like you used to be able to do on YouTube.
One other thing, too, not to toot horns or anything, but another big difference between what TTOR and Josh Hughes got is if you did find a bug or a problem or you needed to know something, these guys are willing to actually communicate with you, as where YouTube, they're at the Bahamas drinking wine, letting the AI handle it.
Yep.
And same thing with Bitchute. Well, except when they send you formulated, scripted responses that don't tell you anything. But but you know all about that one, Josh.
Oh yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
What was that? What was that one where you were telling them how to fix a video on your channel, and all they said in response to you was delete it and upload it again? What was that about again?
Oh yeah, their seed link. It's really just a cloud server where the MP4 is supposed to be didn't exist, and so all they have to do is manually either transfer the MP4 to that server, or they could have just edited the link in the video. No, we can't do that. You just delete it and re-upload it. Really? You don't know how to do this? It's a very simple change.
Right.
It's such a simple change. Now we got it on Joshua TV. And so say if you uploaded a video and then you realize, oh crap, I meant to edit that one piece out of it. Now you can. Now you can upload another video and swap it.
That's the content ID swap, right?
Exactly. And literally, we that's a feature we made now, and that's something that all the large channels on YouTube are able to do, especially SpaceX. I remember SpaceX, where the very first time that they had those rockets that supposed to be self-landing, they accidentally had the same camera going in both screens. So camera A and camera B was really just camera A in both screens. So YouTube, instead of deleting that video, swapped it out and actually fixed it. And they got to keep their millions of views that they just got that day.
That's very generous of them.
Any other creator on YouTube, they'd tell you go after yourself.
Right.
They'd say what Bitchute said. Delete it and re-upload it. So I purposely had this become a feature in our websites now. So now all creators could do this.
Yeah, that sounds only fair. I mean, if you're going to let one creator do it, you might as well let them all, especially if it's not a resource draining feature.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, before we go any further, as far as other sites go, let's talk about the fall of Gab, which, if you remember from 2016 when it went online, all the way up through, I think it was late 2020 when they censored Brett, Gab was a growing, thriving Twitter/Facebook alternative for many years. Many years. But then they started doing weird things, like they locked Josh out of his original account, and then they banned Brett Keane. And oh gosh, Brett, I remember
looking really cultish too with the Christian.
You remember the story? You guys remember the story why I got smoked on Gab?
Wasn't it because there was some three-way story that was in the trending section, and you and a bunch of other people were questioning why it was even there, and next thing you knew, you were banned?
Yeah. The Gab was formulating, basically, Joe, if you didn't hear about this, they were creating their own trends that weren't actually existing, that the audience and the people, the community was not asking for, had anything to do with. And one of the examples was that they were asking, do Christians like to blow someone while also taking it from behind? I doubt that the community wanted to know that information. So I went to the main guy, and I said, what's the deal here, feller? what's this all about? Why is these? I don't believe the community had anything to do with it. He argued with me a little bit, and then I found myself when I came back to respond, I was gone. I was like, oh my goodness, what happened to my freedom of speech?
Wow.
Yep. And then of course in January of 2021, Gab hit their record high 50 million site visits in that month, primarily because Donald Trump got banned from Twitter and Facebook and everything else, and a whole bunch of his followers.
Trump was there.
Yeah, that one's explainable. But yeah, they were inviting Trump for years to go there, but he never did, because he instead ended up making his own competing site called Truth Social that also uses Mastodon like Gab does. But in 2021, Gab had 50 million site visitors, and Torba was tooting his horn about how Gab was going mainstream. But then in that particular month, Terrence Popp and Maddie Rose and Charlie Brown AU all got banned from Gab at roughly the same time, right after Torba started tooting his own horn about Gab going mainstream. And then that's when Torba went full-blown cult leader, as you can see in my wall of videos I made about him and his cult over the last couple of years. Claiming that America would be better as a monarchy than a constitutional republic. At one point, they toyed with the idea of making their website a closed-source script, which would have violated their license for Mastodon. He lied to the world about not censoring anti-Semitic users on his site, which I was able to easily prove that he did. And then also he did some historical revisionism and claimed that John Matz, the former CEO of Parler, was a free speech guy, even though John Matz himself said that he wanted to engage in more censorship on Parler before he got the boot as their CEO. He also claimed one time that liberty and individual freedom are satanic constructs. He projected himself onto Jared Kushner when he claims that Kushner is a lying grifter who lies to and grifts off his audience. And I was able to prove in a video that he does all the same things.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep. And then there's the time where Torba abandoned free speech in the name of protecting the Gab community in relation to Gab ads in particular, is what he was talking about. But I know he'll eventually apply it to everything he runs. There was a time where they were banning links to a satire site. And it was only after I called it out that they restored the ability to share those links on Gab again. And then there's just a whole bunch more, including how he wants to build his own version of the metaverse, and he wants to build his own version of the World Economic Forum, and he wants to build his own communes around it. And he also wants to build Gab communes around the country that are similar to Jonestown, at least in some ways. And then, of course, when he put out his big Christian nationalism book last year, went full-blown heretic and preached a false god and a false gospel. So, I mean, when you look at what he's done in the last couple of years, is it any wonder that they went from having 50 million site visitors in January of 2021 to having only 8.6 million site visitors last month? Is it really any wonder?
A lot of people got creeped out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
really,
they did.
That really is what it is. A lot of people got creeped out, and they just said, I don't want to be a part of this.
Right. And the case of Gab itself was actually a decent product, and even though there was...
I still got Gab.
Yeah, and even though they engage in some censorship, it's not as bad as the censorship on a lot of other sites. The main thing that killed him is Andrew Torba himself and his personality and his teachings. Just flat out killed his own site. Of course, you don't hear him bragging anymore about how they're reaching tens of millions of people every month.
Honestly, I haven't heard a word out of him in a long time. I think whoever funds him told him to shut up finally, and I think that he's finally taking their advice.
He still says stupid stuff on his Gab account. He just he doesn't have the reach he once did. Basically, the only people who still listen to him are the sycophants who are hanging on his every word.
Yep. You're right. You're right. Because I'm now that I think about it, I used to just hear about what he said. He used to be like Gateway Pundit and stuff like that, and no one reports on him now.
Right. Yeah, because I remember a couple years ago, and I talked about this in a video. There were some conservative news outlets like Big League Politics, and I forget what the other one was. They were like reporting on all of his Gab posts and making articles about them, and they were just literally regurgitating everything he said like it was gospel truth, not even doing like the slightest bit of research into what he was saying. And now I don't hear them talking about him anymore. Yeah.
2016 was a crazy year.
Well, this stuff was happening in like 2020, 2021.
Oh,
the stuff I'm talking about. But yeah, they dropped him fast once once he got totally psychotic with his beliefs.
Man.
But yeah, it just blows my mind because I remember joining Gab in late 2017 and throughout 2018, and how it used to be a cool, fun place where I was finding all this information that I wasn't finding on other social media sites, and I was able to reach people in a way I never could before, audience-wise, and it was actually really fun to be there until all this crap happened.
You know what pissed me off about it? It was the fact that, like, at this time, back then, like me and this other, I forgot. I always forget the name of what the hell it was. It was right after MySpace pretty much went crap. There was this new art ran liberal social platform that popped up, and I forgot what the hell it was called. But it was like
art.
No, it was some weird name, and I can't put my finger on it. I can't think of it. But I came up with Buddy List at the same time. And Buddy List was awesome. It had games, it had everything. I even had the slot machines, all the stuff that you was able to play on Facebook, you was able to play on Buddy List. You was able to do all that stuff. I even had my own version of Farmville called Big Farm. It was cool as hell. And it was like, just right out of the blue, this guy, Andrew Torba, pops up and says, "I'm the only alternative social network."
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, acting like I don't even exist.
Well, that's the thing, too, that he started doing the last couple of years that I think really turned people off, is he started proclaiming over and over again that he was the only social media site on the internet that would allow you to have true freedom of speech. And no matter how many times people kept telling him, no, that's blatantly not true. Here's X, Y, and Z sites that allow real freedom of speech. But he would just keep repeating that over and over and over. And I think people
he got some sponsors. Some people funded him. Now he's flying a plane that says, "Everybody go to gab.com." And then I could have got that same hype. But you know what? I would have did something with that hype. I would have actually been booming with that hype. He wasted everything that he got.
I know. He basically just tooted his own horn and didn't do anything. Although this is in my playlist too, I still remember the time where he took like $20,000 worth of donation money from his community and he gave it to Nick Fuentes' America First organization, which his community hated. And he got such heat for that. And then he literally pulled a page out of the QAnon playbook and he's like, "Guys, you got to trust the plan." He literally told his own audience, trust the plan.
I literally think that was technically illegal, and it's an embezzlement thing that he just did right there with company money. And that money that was given to him was for Gab, and then he used it for some external thing. No one ever looked into it, though. But I really think that was something the FEC would normally investigate.
Yeah, and the excuse that Andrew Torba gave was Facebook, funnels money into their to the super PAC and Twitter and YouTube and all the others.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, so we should be able to do it too, was his excuse for why he did it. And of course, he painted Nick Fuentes as like the face of the next generation of young Christians that were coming up. And now Nick Fuentes has fallen off the face of the earth and no one knows where he went. It's like, just the weird, crazy stuff that they did to basically lead to their demise. It's just amazing. Can't believe I've lived through this. Sometimes I wonder if I'm in the right timeline.
I'll tell you what happened to Nick. It was literally that last stunt he did where he came to Mar-a-Lago with Kanye West. That was such a setup. Not only was it a setup against Trump, but it was a setup against Kanye too. It was two people that got hit by him being stupid.
Yeah, and there wasn't Milo part of that too. Milo Yiannopoulos.
Milo is weird. Like a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people. You know, Milo's for pedophilia.
Yeah, because there's this guy on Gab named Joe Pritch who constantly calls out Milo for Milo talking about, well, I know all this inside stuff about the, the homosexual community and pedo movement overlap, but he would never.
He had some kind of I forget what it was called, but it was something about he thinks it's okay for a groomer to raise a boy as long as he's actually responsibly loving him still and taking care of him. And I'm like, what?
That's news to me. I just remember Pritch always. I remember Joe Pritch always criticizing him for not naming names as far as all the people who are part of this whole pedo movement.
I got a clip. I'll send it to you, but it's him actually just saying it, and he literally thinks that Hitler Youth thing was okay. Like that, he said that I can't even think of the way he worded it. So I'm gonna just stop speculating. I'll send it to you later.
Okay, I look forward to seeing that one. And I was just doing a little check just now to make sure we're still up and running, and we are.
It was weird. He was in a bathtub. I remember doing some weird thing with blood, splashing blood all over walls. Some art thing that he was doing. I don't know what the hell. They're crazy.
That reminds me of the Christian whistleblower, the guy that was like totally deranged towards me and who I got into a little back and forth with recently. That guy started doing a whole series of videos where he would just be sitting down in like a bathtub, like an ice bathtub, and he'd like spout his nonsense about all the different, Bible things that he didn't like. Yeah, and it is unknown if he was actually wearing swim shorts or not.
What the hell? Who does
I recently went to his channel to see if there were any more videos of his I could respond to, and I found that his channel had been terminated for violating community guidelines. I'm like, I wonder if the bathtub thing was a part of that.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't wearing shorts. They figured it out.
That's right. They figured it out.
That's crazy. What a twisted world this is.
Yeah.
Super twisted. You see that thing about the Chicago police department that was raping the migrant children there?
Oh, maybe you could inform me on that one.
It's on my Twitter feed. And this is literally what the Biden administration is doing. So just think, the only reason why this story got leaked out is because these kids went to the hospital. And I guess that's how it got leaked out, is someone at the hospital leaked it to the press, and then they got news coverage on it. But and now like four cops from that precinct were fired. How is the whole precinct not fired? Everybody there knew what was going on.
That's pretty gross.
These kids are living in the precinct like it's an apartment building.
I'll tell you what, Joe, it sounds like we need a real life Marvel version of the Punisher.
Yeah. Or we just need Charles Bronson.
In that tweet, I titled it, "Where are the sheriffs?" This is when the sheriff's supposed to take back the counties when something like this happens.
Right. That's heavy stuff there, bro.
That is crazy.
Oh, and just for your sake, Brett, Josh's name is Josh, not Joe.
All right. Sorry about that, Josh.
Oh, no. You're all good.
Yeah. I just figured I'd let you know. But anyway, since you mentioned it recently in a video, Brett, you stopped putting your content on Odyssey stopped promoting your Odyssey channel because why again?
Because it's getting no views. According to you, the thing has died over at Odyssey. I'm sure a lot of these type of sites have and everything because,
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
I believe that YouTube and Google has made it to
Rumble
where
stole everything.
You think Rumble stole it all?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I got some good proof that Josh is right about it
Oh,
as far as where the people went.
Oh, yeah. I know absolutely that's where they went. And the reason why is because Odyssey people had to pay to watch. I don't know if a lot of people knew that or not, but if you wasn't a content creator, you're actually paying. And if you don't have enough credits, you can't see everything. So you got to keep putting money into the site to actually watch people's videos. And so that's where they lost everything. People had to keep paying to see everything. And now here's a platform, Rumble, that you don't got to do that. Yeah. Boom. Everybody's just easily doing that now. Rumble got the money to pull the ads. They got commercials on the cable networks. I've seen them. I actually seen Rumble commercials on TV. I'm like, that's crazy. See, that could be Josh Who TV. Where are you people at? Why aren't you supporting me on this?
You know what would be a great feature, and it's something that YouTube had a long time ago before they sold their soul to Google, is the video response feature. Have you ever seen that before, TTOR?
Yes, I vaguely remember it.
Oh, yeah. You could post your video, like if you did a response video and posted it to me, it would show up under my video, your thumbnail and everything. And of course, you could set it to approval or just let everything fly. And man, I was getting like hundreds of people that would respond to my videos and all that, because they weren't just doing it because they wanted to have a conversation, but it also gave them the benefit of views for being connected to a video.
You build up your audience and stuff.
So hopefully one day somebody will get it in their damn head, blank, blank, clue, clue, to do video responses.
We do have it. It actually does. It's built in. I don't know if it's enabled yet, but it's in the core. And
so wait, it is?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
That was last year. I gotta figure out how it functions to enable it, maybe.
I remember talking to Daniel about that, and basically he said there was no plans to make something like that.
Oh no, there's a whole new thing now. There's AI writing the code now, and so a lot of things has changed to a video. Everything that used to be impossible is now just like $5 away.
Well, couldn't somebody use like AI or something, or this?
That's what they're doing now. They're using AI to do all this.
An easy way I'm thinking it can be done where it doesn't cause a lot of aggravation, just to say, because I do websites myself, is create a texture box and have it to where people have the ability to click on it, and then it posts their thumbnail and the link to their video directly to it. Wouldn't be no problems.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what it used to be too, right?
It was kind of like that, but it was kind of a scroll box. More videos, the more it opens up, and people are able to do that. And you could click view all and see all the responses, but it was amazing. Do you know what it's like to wake up in the morning and see hundreds of faces looking back at you? That's how I ended up. That's how I ended up getting a video response from Stephen Baldwin. Yeah, the actor. When I seen his face
in the comment section of our video sites, if you post a link to your video, it will actually be shown underneath that video.
With a thumbnail?
Yeah.
Oh.
You need to demonstrate this, Josh. I will gladly allow you to screen share if you want to show us right now.
I think that could easily be enhanced to exactly how YouTube's used to do it. Right now, it's just an embeddable player. You know what I'm saying, right?
Right. So you share the link in the box, and when you publish it, it translates into embedded
playable
video.
Exactly. Just like on Twitter.
Interesting. I'll have to look into that. And that's in comment sections?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about some stuff here once we get through my list of things to talk about. But since Brett brought up Odyssey in a recent video, I just wanted to talk about my feelings as to why I believe it didn't, why it's dying off as well. So as you can see here, April of this year, Odyssey had 20 million site visitors. And then May, they dropped down to 19.3 million. June, 17.5 million. Now, about a year ago, maybe 9 months ago, they were at around 32 to 35 million site visitors. Basically, for a while, as Bitchute started to lose their audience, Odyssey was picking up a lot of the leading people as well as Rumble. But then, like Josh pointed out, they started doing things that made it less incentivizing to use Odyssey. But I'm going to add to what Josh said, because Odyssey, like most YouTube alternatives these days, has their own hate speech policy, just like BitChute and YouTube. One of their moderators admitted to someone that Odyssey is not a free speech website, contrary to their public claims. There was that time where Odyssey signed an exclusive deal with a revenge pornographer who was convicted of his crime. And they signed the deal with him after his conviction. And they also shadow banned people. And then on my site, Quarter, I had a user post a clip from Ethan Ralph's stream where basically the guy provides evidence.
That was the whole purpose of Odyssey to begin with. See, the Libre platform, they didn't have that capabilities. They couldn't shadow ban. They couldn't do any of that. And so that's the reason why they built this shell, Odyssey, to put over it. Now they can control what people see.
And this guy exposed how Odyssey pays creators to leave other alt text sites. And we have evidence that alt text, not their CEO, but like the guy who runs all their operations, he tried encouraging Ethan Ralph to worship Moloch in order to gain success as a creator.
Wow.
Because if you play the video, it's from the same stream as this one.
That's insane.
Yeah, so Odyssey's done a lot of things that ultimately have led to their downfall as well. Although they never reached the heights that BitChute did, so their fall isn't as hard or as bad. They still have a little bit more of an audience than BitChute does. But like Brett pointed out, unless you're a popular creator on there who has like 70,000+ subs, you're not going to get any views on your videos. Exactly. Pretty much the only way I can get more than 10 views in a video on Odyssey is it has to be a young Earth creationism related video. Everything else gets like 0 to 5 views.
You know what's crazy is I used to actually make shitloads of money on Libre, and I purposely just cashed out all my shit just because I didn't like them. I literally, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna just take, and I had like $100-something just sitting there, and I cashed it all out, and that was it. That was the last time I ever been into that platform because I knew what it was doing. I knew it was purposely killing everybody.
Yes,
I think one of the things is, about a lot of these video sites that hurt them really bad is some of the names that they give their video sites. I've always thought of it the same way I think of music. If the band has a cool name, then that alone will be able to help them get some attention.
Oh,
but if you call yourself, I'm a Muttonhead Butthole or whatever, nobody's going to find it in the search engines, especially when Google's against you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But look at YouTube. It's simple. It's just YouTube, even though it has nothing to do with us and it's all about money and greed and evil, it still gives the idea that it's about you kind of thing. You get it?
It lost its purpose, I thought, years ago. But back when it first came out, yeah, that is what drew me to it because it was saying you. It was like about the creator. And that's what made me go, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yep, and that was my feeling too when I was in high school and it came out the first time. I thought YouTube was a pretty cool site after my cousins showed me a few videos on there, and I was very impressed by the kind of content you could find on YouTube. And of course, becoming a creator later was even more fun. But then, of course, as soon as I became a creator is when they started doing all the censorship stuff. Apparently, I have the worst timing in the world.
I'm gonna tell you why the video response thing was actually a built-in feature on there. This was actually one of the first features of YouTube, and it's because YouTube was a dating site when it first launched. It was going to be the world's first video dating site, and you'd be able to upload your, I guess, monologue of yourself, like what you like to do, take long walks on the beach, kind of bullshit, and then someone could make a response to your video. And that's literally what it was originally designed for, but it flopped. No one wanted to use it like that. Everybody was just taking pictures of their cats and stuff. It was like it just transformed into how we see it today.
Right. But that is a pretty funny idea, though, of YouTube being a dating site. Posting this amazing video where you describe all your features, and then there's like a chick who posts a response video below. It's like, oh, I love all those features about you. You're just oh so manly. Oh, how can we meet up?
Well, could you imagine if it was a dating site nowadays? You wouldn't know who you're dating or what to find whenever it's loving time. You know what I mean?
Right, especially if they start using AI generated content now. That girl who he's responding to could be entirely digital. But speaking of earlier, when you guys mentioned that Rumble picked up all the users that Odyssey and Bitchute lost, yeah, just look at these pretty numbers. They used to roughly get about 100 million site visitors every month for a while, but then recently they started practically doubling up. They have in April 161 million site visitors. In May, 172 million site visitors. And in June, they almost hit 182 million site visitors. Why do you guys think that is? Why has Rumble gone from being better than all the others already to practically doubling their traffic almost in the last 6 months?
Well, there's a couple different things I could probably say. One thing I found in the settings that made me happy was it had the same feature as Odyssey where I could sync my YouTube channel. I could either upload to Rumble, it goes up to YouTube, or vice versa. And it also has the ability to take everything that I've ever made and put it on Rumble. So it's just a moment, a click of a button, and boom, everything's saved and archived. And number two, they really, really push the idea that you can make money if you use Rumble. And they put their big people right up on the front, showing that they are of some relevance and importance. That's probably why the Molech character was trying to put, buy popular people to be on the site to say, oh, look, we are important. If this guy uses it, everybody should, kind of deal.
Right. And that's probably why Bitchute did the same thing. Because I remember Styx used to deny all the time that he was being paid to promote Bitchute. But then I couldn't help but notice all of a sudden for like the last year and a half, maybe closer to 2 years, anytime Styx talks about another video site, it's always Rumble or Odyssey. He never talks about Bitchute anymore. Just weird things.
There is some other neat features too, like if you embed, it depends on what kind of account you got, but if you embed your videos, you can switch the colors and really customize the way the video looks on the thing. If you look on my blog, I make them all kinds of different colors and neat to match the actual screen I have on my website. So that's cool.
That does sound pretty cool. I'm going to have to check out that blog post. Actually, can you put Well, actually, if you want, Brett, you can screen share that right now and just show us.
Well, I'll hook you up with a link. You know how I have a little bit of problems with it, but it's right on the site. Like the first post I do, I'm going to give you a link to, is basically a small article about some of the stuff we were going to talk about, and also has your video going through it. Here you go. So extra advertisement. Yay. There you go.
Yay. Okay. Let me just copy that whole show. Okay, let's find that. Okay.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised in the future if a lot of these video sites start adding more AI features where you can tell it to not only do upload defaults of links that you want, but also follow the captions in the video, since that's automatic anyway, and create an entire article within the description of the video about what the video is about, which will get you more hits in the search engines.
Definitely need to try that.
Could you imagine that? You make a video, the thing fills out the perfect tags for you as well as description. My goodness, man, that's the future.
Interesting. I'm just checking out the comments. Justin, I thought you meant Robert Beatty. Justin, I thought you meant the end of the Loomer segment. My bedtime is closing in. What are the prospects at this point? Robert emailed me earlier today, long before the show, something about Laura Loomer and her connection to a group of guys called the Montana Four that assaulted a man, and they're trying to get out of jail for it, or they did go to jail for it, but basically how she has these connections to the lawyer who represented those guys. And I don't think he's going to have much of a chance of talking about it on this particular show if he's approaching his bedtime now. Plus, I don't really see the relevance of that story to Laura Loomer and what we were talking about, because the issues of hers that reared their head recently have nothing to do with her association with a lawyer who defended some really nasty criminals. I don't know what else to say to that.
Did you get a chance to see the article put forth in your video at the top?
Yes, I did. I sure did.
Nice.
Okay, so before we get into a segment where Josh can talk about his primary alt text sites, I would like to talk a little bit about Truth Social, because Rumble is not the only social media site that Donald Trump owns that's growing at this point. The other one is Truth Social, which is Donald Trump's very own Twitter alternative, which he created using Mastodon, just like Gab does. And after they were experiencing some shrinkage over the first few months of the year, they've started to grow again, going from 6.3 million site visits in May to 8.2 million site visits. And if Donald Trump keeps getting his name in the news and the prospect of him going to prison potentially continues to loom, and with Andrew Torba being as deranged as he is, I think Truth Social may actually surpass Gab as the top alt-tech social media site in terms of traffic at this point.
Not that it hasn't already.
So what are your thoughts on Truth Social, Brett? I know you just recently joined it after not being on it for a while, but what caused you to say, you know what, I'm going to use the old Trumper's social media site?
Mostly because of Trump himself. I still support him, and I still think a lot of his ideas were good. I don't, like yourself, I don't think he was a perfect man. He sure isn't the savior of mankind, that's for sure, but he's a hell of a lot better than an old man with dementia who's sniffing coke off the cracked ass of some woman coming in. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, that is true. And he's also not a deranged Christian cult leader who wants to build his own version of everything he fights against, allegedly. So that probably helps him too.
Maybe a lot of people forgot about this, but at least for Christianity, whether people believe Trump's a true Christian or not, he and it's been the longest time since I've heard of any president allowing Christians to come into the White House and actually do prayers and all that. And now we got this new president, and now we're trying to figure out who the coke addict is. I mean, are you serious?
Oh, yeah, that epic ending to that story. I'm sure you guys have all heard about it by now. How they concluded the investigation and they have no suspects, no DNA evidence, no evidence whatsoever to indicate that anyone in particular brought the coke in. Does anyone buy that for $1?
No, but I don't know if they have somebody up there that tells them about optics, but that just makes them look extremely incompetent. I mean, if you can't even trust our government to figure out where the cocaine in the White House coming from, you can't depend on them for anything.
Yeah, that's pretty much true. I don't see any reason to disagree.
And now, don't get me wrong, TTOR, I'm not an anarchist or anything, but I do think our government needs some kind of reset.
Yeah, it definitely needs a cleansing because it is so corrupt practically from top to bottom at this point that it almost doesn't matter who we put into office as long as the bureaucracy exists, outside of the office's control. Things will just be bad all the time. And I think that's the part where Trump bit off more than he could chew when he became president the first time around is he talked all day about how he was going to clean out the swamp, and he did try to do it, but I think he grossly underestimated just how deep the swamp was and just how bad the bureaucracy was until it
Well, it's
was
not
all
just
turned
that,
against
he
him.
also underestimated these corporations. He kept on claiming that he was going to stand up against censorship, but he just waited and waited and waited, and then finally a lot of his supporters got caked. I can't tell you how many Twitter accounts I lost while they were dealing when the liberals were going to jack to get rid of anybody that supported him. He made a bad mistake. That was the way he was reaching his audience and being transparent. But if we're all getting knocked out, then what are you going to do?
Right, and that's where he did make a good decision, I would think, when he decided to create Truth Social through his new media company. Because at least with Truth Social, he owns it. He's not going to get kicked off of his own website because he lets some lefties take control. That's his pony that he runs. So I think in that regard, he made a good decision creating his own social media site because now he can reach a lot of people, albeit not as many as before, but he can still reach a lot of people and say what he wants to say, and he doesn't have to worry about being gone tomorrow.
I think that if he doesn't get voted in, though, then his popularity will go down and you'll see a lot of people end up going. I think one of the only reasons a lot of people are jumping on the site right now is they really believe he's got a chance to become president. But if he gets indicted, that's going to be over. That's the end of that business venture.
He won't get it. He won't get indicted. They can't indict people like him. He's protected.
What's he protected from? Who's going to save him?
If they was able to indict him, they would have already done it. Trust me.
Fair enough.
For real, they would have. They're like so afraid of him getting this opportunity and chance because they got to make this cheat not look like a cheat, and
Right.
How can you do that with this guy? He's so popular, it's going to be impossible.
Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
And now with RFK running, that's going to be even more harder.
Yeah, I don't know if I should say this, but it's really difficult for me. When I listen to him, I think a lot of his ideas and thoughts are pretty cool, but damn, that voice, man, it gravels on me.
I know. That vaccines, that's what happened to him. That's why he's been against vaccines his whole entire life.
We're still talking about Trump?
No, RFK.
Yeah.
RFK.
He's a great guy. He's got a lot of great thoughts and all that. But I just couldn't do 4 years of listening to him up there sound like Merman off the He-Man cartoon TV show.
I think you kind of sound like a goat, like Gabby.
Okay.
Remember Gabby and Porky Pig?
No, I do not remember that actually. That's show.
He is a nice guy. And his heart's in the right place when it comes to what he's talking about pharma.
There is a little catch, or what should I call it, a tell with Donald Trump that he needs to get around or stop doing. He treats a lot of politicians like you would do if you were running a business or something, where if somebody's nice to him or works with him for 5 minutes, he immediately says, "Yeah, that's my friend. Here's my friend over here." You need to stop doing that. Politicians will turn on you like a piranha, and he needs to stop saying they're his friend, because you know what'll happen when they turn their back on him. Oh, another friend of Trump.
Forever. I've been saying that forever, because they're like, oh, look, he said for both sides, and I'm like, he says everybody's a great guy. He could have just met him just 5 minutes ago and said, oh, great guy. just shook his hand, great guy.
Yeah. This fellow over here is a great guy. By the way, what's your name again?
Exactly. That's just how he is. He's just a nice chatterbox, and people take advantage of it. Well, the media twists that. They take advantage of that. And people that know Donald, they know how he talks. They know he dramatizes everything that he says. But he's Donald. He won't purposely. Besides this vaccine thing, which really pissed me off, he used to never be a guy that would mislead you to anything. That was the one that threw me for a loop. Like, I don't know how scared, or if he really believed what he was saying, or if he was actually just hoping for maybe people with low IQ to just go. I don't know what happened there, but that was kind of weird. But I've never seen him mislead anybody before.
Well, I think that it wasn't a deliberate mislead. I think he had so many liberals up his ass, and on top of it, rhinos who were misinforming him on things. He didn't know what to do. According to what I've read about him, he's one of those type of people that does like to ask what they think about things or their thoughts, before he makes a decision. And he
doesn't look like an ass.
Yeah, but he ended up listening to the wrong Lulus, and here we are.
Yep. So now that I'm ready to give Josh the floor, and I'm going to go ahead and screen share while he does it. Josh, why don't you start telling us about your YouTube alternative, Joshu TV?
Well, Joshu TV is a free speech video live streaming platform that allows you to upload any videos that you have, as long as they're legal, of course. And you'll be able to share these easily across any platform, anywhere in the world, easily. By easily, I mean literally simply, you can put it in your blogs, your WordPresses, Twitter feeds, Facebook pages, anything. It's just a link away. And no matter what the size of the video is, you can literally share it now. And so we're a video hosting website. A lot of people don't understand exactly what the difference is between Facebook and an actual host. Okay, we're a utility basically now, a legal utility that's protected by Section 230 as a service provider to offer you free web hosting for video storage. That's literally its legal definition of what we're doing. And there's no other platforms out there like this. We are literally the only ones that are doing this besides Twitter right now. Twitter, Elon Musk is literally 100% in lockstep with what we are doing with Section 230. First platform I've ever seen that actually is doing what we're doing right now. That's a mainstream platform.
Right.
Torba's not even doing this. Look up Torba in the registry. He's not there. He's not a part of the DMCA system or anything like that. All these websites out there that claim to be free speech, anybody could sue them and say, take that video down right now. And they're going to say, yes, sir.
But with your site, they can't do that.
They can't. They cannot. And that's the difference between a web host and Facebook.
Well, I got a question for you guys about this thing you got going on. Do you guys have a video sync thing where it can grab my videos off of the deal? Because at this point, I'm running into about 300 videos.
It's not an automatic thing, but it will grab your videos. Like, you could copy your whole YouTube channel if you got a YouTube channel still, but it's pretty much designed to grab almost anything that it can see in the page, as long as it can find its MP4 file. And then it's going to grab it and grab its description and title automatically. And so it's not just a YouTube. That's the other thing. It's not just a YouTube downloader like everybody else's. This thing, you can literally go to Fox News and say, "Give me that video," and it's gonna grab it. That's how our stuff works. Ours is like an actual legit grabber.
And that is music to a lot of people's ears who want to like copy stuff from Twitter and Fox News and whatnot onto their channels without having to do complicated things.
Exactly.
So I noticed there's some. Oh, go ahead. You finish.
I was going to say there's a little information thing. Like when you go to the uploader, you click on it and it has a list of all the video sites that you could grab from on the import tab. And it's pretty neat. But it's a lot of websites.
Yeah, because you can grab from Bitchute videos, for instance. You can do that.
Yep.
I think. Is Odyssey on that list?
Yep. Odyssey, Bitchute, Rumble, everything.
And I think it even works on other video sites, does it not?
Yep. 100%.
So I noticed that there's some new features on Joshua TV. I noticed, for example, there's now a search filter button, and that seems to be new.
Oh, it makes it so much easier now to find things. The search is finally actually functional to where it doesn't take hours to load or anything like that. Just a few seconds. You can search for anything now, or you can really, really specify what you're actually looking for by description, title, if you know the ID of it, or its actual direct file name.
And isn't file name like the video file name that you
uploaded? The raw file name that you uploaded, yeah.
Now that is unique because I've never seen that done before in a video sharing site where you could actually look for a video by the name of the file that was uploaded to the channel.
It's because this is a full-fledged VOD website. VOD stands for Video On Demand. So, and it's a content delivery network. So it's literally designed for you to use this for your business or wherever you want it. You can embed, you can, host, you can do everything from your Joshua TV account, even start a Roku channel, an Amazon Fire TV channel if you want. Like there's everything you could do from Joshua TV.
So you can search
and yours.
Right, and mine too. So you can search by those things: video title, description, channel name, channel description, video ID number, or even the file name of the video. You can search by the different categories that are on the site. You can search by all the tags and hashtags, which is something that I don't think you did before. You can search within a certain date, like within the last day, last 5 days, last 12 months. You can even search by view counts now. Look at that, ladies and germs.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, those numbers are awfully big, but...
Oh, we got them. We got a lot of videos that are in those numbers. It's crazy, too. It's crazy, too. A lot of people are now using Joshua TV for their Roku channels. And when they're doing it like this, they get millions of views on their videos from because they're literally on millions of TVs across. So I got a few ghost people that actually have real ghost channels and stuff like that. They're big on like TLC and stuff like that. They use Joshua TV for their Roku. And it's stuff like that, I think, is how everything's going to be growing in the future.
That's good to know. And I definitely am one of those people who uses Joshua TV to put my content onto Roku. So I very much appreciate not having to spend a penny to do that.
I know. It's a lifesaver. It really is, because I enjoy using it myself.
Because isn't the average cost to create a content delivery system for Roku like at least $5,000 plus?
Oh yeah. Today's market and stuff like that, it's huge. I don't even know how they sleep at night. Honestly, the prices I see people paying for bandwidth, it's crazy.
Yeah, that is definitely true, which is also why I appreciate your Joshu web hosting services very much and utilize them.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, I noticed another new feature on your site, and one that I'll be implementing on Quarter soon, is shorts. Now, am I reading this correctly? Are these just like YouTube shorts?
I'm sorry, you cut out. Say it one more time.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, are these shorts that I'm seeing on screen, are they just like YouTube shorts?
Exactly like YouTube shorts. I got mine set up for 60-second clips. I don't think it's 100% bug free yet. Sometimes I see live streams that exceed hours appear in these feeds sometimes, but most of the time it looks like it's starting to actually narrow it down. All those clips I'm seeing right there, for example, are under 60 seconds. I know that for a fact, and so that's pretty cool. There's a glitch we're trying to figure out on Android right now. People are vertically watching this on their mobile app, and they click the arrow next button. For some reason, it crashes the PWA. Hopefully, any day we'll have a fix for that. We're still trying to figure out what the bug is, but other than that, yeah, that's literally what the shorts are for. And so far, a lot of people I notice are using it now. They sit there all day just watching shorts. It auto plays.
Cool. That's another thing that you're competing with YouTube directly on now, as well as TikTok and Getter. What is this thing I saw called private content? What is that?
Honestly, it's probably not what it's supposed to be. I think it was Daniel's idea for making it like pay-per-view content. And English isn't his first language, so I think he's just kind of. I think that's really what it's supposed to be. It should be PPV content, and I'm probably going to end up renaming it later on in the next update.
Let's see, if I click on it, does a paywall come up? Because I noticed there's a lock on it that says private, but no.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's playing normally.
I have no clue how they're using it, so I'm gonna have to look into it more. But I think that's what it's supposed to be originally designed for, and I think all creators could enable pay-per-view. Go to a video real quick and see if you could do it.
Oh, like on one of my videos?
Yeah. See if you can make one
Just
pay-per-view.
Got to refresh this.
I think that's what that category is supposed to be for.
Okay, let's go to my videos. And since you made me an admin, I'm going to have to do some filtering.
Oh, yeah. That filter is a huge help with this now.
Type in TTOR. Okay, here's that one. So if I go to, is it in the edit section I can do this?
Let's see. Advanced. I've never done it before. I never used it yet.
Well, I know I can change the ratings on it. I know I can change the autoplay next video.
They finally finished it. I've never used it yet. So I'm trying to see.
Oh, here we go. Only paid users can see.
Ah, right there. Okay. So
if I do that.
So if you click that on. Okay, yeah, that's how it works. Brilliant.
But it doesn't give me any other options beside that.
Well, what this does is it's going to make it to where you have a subscription that you offer to people, and they have to pay that subscription in order to see these videos.
Oh, okay. Don't know how good it'll be at this point, but that is an interesting option. Interesting.
I'm seeing how Daniel's trying to do it. I don't know if it's going to be through the wallet or if it's going to be by itself. I hope it's by itself because I don't want to use it through the wallet.
Right. Yeah, and even on my site, that wouldn't be good because the only way you could pay is with your insight currency that you only get by getting a lot of views.
Right.
Yeah, that's something we'll have to look at, but that is cool, though. You can put a paywall and stuff.
I mean, yeah, I think that's the coolest thing is like everything's there for development. It's just now we can use the AI to do whatever we want. So all those things that Daniel has, like that paywall, for example, I think we can add on to it now. I think we can make it however we want it.
So Brett King could put a big special out, like an hour-long video where he talks about some important topic in great detail, and then he could make people pay like $5 a pop just to watch.
Well, yeah, that's my idea. My idea would be like a creator would be able to connect their PayPal account to it or some shit like that, and then they could set up their own whatever, and then someone sends it to them and they authorize it. Boom, there you go.
All right. Now that you've talked about Joshua TV in great detail, let's look at your other website that you are very fond of, Loop. Tell us more about Loop.
Loop is like a merger between Facebook and Twitter combined. You can have groups, communities, live chat. Well, it's just a text-based chat room. I wish there was voice chat. We don't got that yet. But it's a social network that doesn't shadow ban you, and you're able to subscribe to different topics, and you can subscribe to different hashtags, and then so you don't even have to, I think that's what makes this actually more unique than how all the other places work is as a new user that signs up, it's going to say, what do you want to follow? And so people are going to click UFOs, science, they're going to click stuff like that. And now that's what you're going to get delivered in your feed. You didn't have to be subscribed to those people. You see? And this is how people actually grow on it. This is the way the social networks were supposed to be years ago. And they purposely took this away. They didn't want people to be able to collaborate and everything like this with stuff you like. They want to force stuff down your throat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things I like most about Loop, like you pointed out, is how each and every topic on the site has its own feed. So, like, for example, I click on the Joshua TV feed, and I should only be seeing people's Joshua TV videos.
Exactly.
Or if I go to citizen journalism, I should only be seeing links to things that have to do with citizen journalism or posts about that topic. And I like just the wide variety of topics. I mean, you got news of all kinds, you got science, you got COVID-19, astrology, truth, UFOs, crisis acting.
And it's open for everybody to add to it.
And you got cooking, and you got comedy and fashion and beer and wine, family, pets, cannabis, parenting, music, sports, boxing, MMA, health stuff, do it yourself, arts and crafts. I mean, there's just so many different feeds for topics that would appeal to normies that, I just marvel at how not more people are using Loop. Because one of the big complaints that people have had about sites like Gab and Bitchute and all those over the last several years is that, well, if you're into like news and alternative journalism and stuff, those are great places to be. But, there's nothing for the normie out there. Nothing about music or arts and crafts and, cooking and all that stuff. And
exactly. It's like it's all agenda pushing. It has to be like about some narrative that has to be pushed. If it's not about taking away guns, it's about I want to ban this or I want to do this or and that's the thing that I think needs to be eliminated. I'm so sick of the devil always having to whisper in everybody's ear what to do next. How about let people be free and wander and do what they seek?
Mm-hmm.
At TTOR, there is one other thing that I think is happening. You remember I was telling you a while back, I created a video site myself. I was doing like a PHP, and it was a template that was offered, and I just made it look more like the way I wanted it to look. But I noticed that it had a feature on it where it could say that I could screw with the counter. Do you know what a counter is?
Like a view counter?
Yeah, where each video would be able to have that. And it asked me, do I want to set it to 10,000 views? Do I want to set it to this? The reason why I'm telling you this is because I wouldn't be surprised if one of the ways YouTube keeps people is by pumping up their views to make it appear as though they're more relevant than what they actually are. I'll even say that about myself. I'll say that that's possible. They've done that to my own videos to give the idea that we're actually being seen. Have you ever wondered why it is you go to somebody who's got 1 million subscribers, supposedly? Most of those accounts are dead or never used. Either somebody's buying their shit, or why is it that they only have 20% comments compared to the subscriptions they have? So the math isn't right.
Right. This doesn't line up.
That's actually one of the reasons why I took the view counter away from public view on Jussie TV, because I think that ideology needs to die. People need to stop stressing about that view counter and what everybody sees, and the greed needs to stop using that as a way of saying this is how much power you should have or control you should have of your audience and stuff. And so now, without that view counter there, people are they're watching your video. They don't care about how many views it has anymore.
There's another thing too, because of all this political jargon and crap that's always going on. A lot of these videos get attacked by people who don't lean towards it. They don't even watch the videos. If they think it's a Republican, they will dislike the video. The only thing YouTube, I feel, one of their only features they've done so far that is actually really good in the past 2 years is turn off those damn dislikes, because that's a lie. People can use bots. They can come over with their buddies, not even watch the video, and knock you all the way down to the bottom of the search engines using that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or at the very least, they give off the impression that your content is no good because, well, look how many more dislikes you have than likes, which is what they did to me on YouTube years ago.
It's a psychological programming, and it's no different than the guy that stands up every time a tone plays. Like, did you ever see that video?
No.
Okay, there's like a room, and this was like some social experiment where people like are walking into this place. It's like some kind of a dentist office or something like that, and they're in the waiting room. And the dentist's office, I guess, allowed this guy to do this, social experiment there because he gets people all the time in there. And so in the little lobby where they're all sitting and waiting, a tone will play, boop, and this guy stands up, and then he sits back down. And then everybody sits there and looked at him. They was like, that was weird. And then it happens again, like 5 minutes later. And then now 3 people are standing up when it happens. And then they all sit down. Next thing you know, the whole room's doing it in 20 minutes. And this is literally how mass form psychosis. It's literally how it works. It's
mass hypnosis.
Yeah, it's groupthink. And everybody just has to do what the whole room's doing, or else you start getting that negative vibe. Like, people are hating you now. People are going to beat you up if you don't do it.
Right.
This probably wouldn't shock you to realize this, TTR, since I've been doing YouTube for almost 20 years now. A lot of this bot stuff and people disliking videos really did not start seeing that happen, or trolling or all this kind of stuff, and cyberbullying and stalking, until the atheist community began to rise. The more bigger it got, the more ignorant and godless YouTube became.
Yep.
Yeah, that is very much a true thing as well. But yeah, I remember how back in the day they used to always, downvote raid my videos, and then they'd turn around in the comments section and be like, his video must be no good. Look at all those dislikes he has.
Exactly.
Which I found hilarious when YouTube disabled the dislike button to basically prevent the Biden admin from being ratioed on YouTube. But on the other side, it took away the atheist ability to play that tactic of the downvote raid, and then look at his dislikes.
Well,
now they can't do that.
They've been people have been complaining about this for years about it. It wasn't until YouTube was trying to promote their woke bullshit and those things got disliked, ratioed, that they go, oh, wait a minute, this is actually hurting our business. They didn't give a damn that it was done to you or I. Who gives a shit about what happens to us? But hurt their business, get in that
Susan
pocket.
Wojcicki, every time she uploaded a video. Oh man,
That's right.
she used to get the most dislikes every time she uploaded a video. She would have the most dislikes on YouTube. But Biden took the cake. Somehow the Biden administration forced him to make that upgrade.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you'd like to add about Loop beside the fact that it has a wide diversity of topic threads?
No, just everybody's invited. Bring your friends. It's free to join, and have fun on it.
Okie dokie.
Now, I am curious. I'm asking you both about this because I know you both got this going, but is it now possible where I can click upload, like doing a link from another video site, and not have to keep the page open in order to have the thing done?
Yes, with Quarter and with Joshua TV,
Yeah.
if you import a video using the import section instead of direct upload, what it will do is it will go to the sharing queue and download, and then it will process and upload to your channel. Once it's in the sharing queue, you can just leave, walk away.
Yep.
And it will still do its thing.
Same if you upload to it. You upload it, it puts it into the sharing queue. You can walk away.
Yeah, if the upload's the same thing, although you can't leave while it's uploading. You have to wait till it gets into the sharing queue. But then once it does, you can just walk away and it will do it by itself.
Yep. You can even schedule it now. Oh, we got the scheduler built in to where you can select when you want it to go live and stuff like that too.
Oh yeah, that is a newer feature that came in like the last 3-4 months.
I love it. And now it makes it editing videos so much easier because you ain't got to notify your audience every time you upload. And now you can say no. I'll schedule an hour later purposely just so you're doing it for a video swap or something. You know.
Right. Exactly. So yes, Brett, you can do that as long as you're importing from a site. It will go straight to the sharing queue right off the top, and you don't have to be on the page while it does it.
Well, that sounds good to me. I just threw about 10 videos that are some of my popular stuff over to Josh Hugh and everything, and we'll get that going, see what happens on that.
Hell yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. Sounds good.
Of course, this stuff is not for the faint of heart. Those of you who are watching this either live or after the fact, when you're starting a video sharing site from scratch and you don't have a bunch of money for marketing or for bribing popular people to use your site, you're not going to have a boatload of viewers watching a bunch of videos. You're going to have to basically scrounge for every view you can get by sharing videos from your site onto various social media sites.
How hard would it be to do something like this for you guys? Something where a person, when they go to make a comment or hit reply, it gives them the option to use a microphone and leave like a small MP3 recording of what they think about something. Or number two, have it to where next to their name it says they are verified to have actually watched the video this far. I know that sounds weird, but when you get somebody that comes over to your channel and says, imagine this, TTOR, somebody comes to your video, they watch it, just like a minute of it, and they decide to say, you suck, but they haven't actually watched the video, it'll actually say how much of it they actually watched.
Yeah, I always thought about that.
That would be fun because, you get these comments on YouTube or other sites, and you can just tell from the type of comment it is that they watch like the first 10 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, our platform actually shows that. You click on the views info on the video, and it actually shows you each person. And so if they're logged in, it actually shows you what their username is. It will say Bob just watched 30 seconds of it. It actually will say what town he's in too.
Is that just for the admin, or is that for any creator?
That's for all the creators. I don't think the IP addresses they'll see. I don't think that's, but it'll show what town. So it's basically designed to see, like, if you're using this platform for ad marketing, for example, you're gonna know where your ads got played at, And that's literally that's the whole purpose of it, is so see if someone's fraudulently going to your videos or whatever, But the whole purpose of it, though, is so you got the transparency. You know that you're actually getting real views. It's not Chinese bots that's just pumping up your numbers to make you keep coming back.
Right. And I'm just trying to open up the. Why won't it let me look at comments?
I think that's the coolest part, is the transparency with the analytics. We're the only platform that has this. No one else shows you anything like this when it comes to analytics of where your views come from.
Yeah, it's not as deep as what YouTube's analytics do, but like Josh said, most alt tech sites don't even try to offer you any kind of analytics dashboard for your videos. So, in that respect alone, Quarter and Joshu TV are ahead of the other alt tech sites.
Way ahead. And now it works with the live streams too.
Okay, so now that Josh has had
I forgot. There's another feature. Your chat of your live streams now becomes comments to your video once it's done processing.
Well, and plus the chat module on our particular video scripts can not only be used on live streams, but it can also be used, if you enable it, on your channel pages and even on your individual videos that you upload.
Yep.
So you could have a chat section that's totally separate from the comments.
It's cool. There's so much cool things you can do. Have you ever video called with it yet?
No, I've not video called with the chat module.
It's literally all it does is it opens up a meeting with that person.
Oh.
But it rings them. It rings them. They'll see a phone thing pop up on their screen, and they just click answer, and boom, you're now both in the meeting room.
That would be especially hilarious if you decided to troll back someone who's leaving hate comments on your channel. Just immediately call them up. So, you didn't like the video, huh? How many seconds of it did you watch?
Well, you can block them. You can block them. That's always the best part. That's the other thing I always used to say with these platforms. All the people that used to, complain to the admins on Facebook, this guy picking on me, blah, blah, blah. Block them. Don't tell the admin, block them. That's the whole reason why the block's there.
Right. Apparently that's too complicated. Let me see. Go back here. Boom. So, since Josh had his 15 minutes of fame, I get 15 minutes of fame. So this on screen is Quarter, which is using the same script as Joshu TV. So the features and functionality are very similar. The primary difference is I decided to make a more YouTube-looking site in terms of the user interface. So there's a lot less lines, and the font's different, and things are a little smaller. It's just a slightly sharper, cleaner user interface, which includes on the video pages themselves. Like, for example, when it loads up this how to draw Sonic in under 5 minutes video that I had a dude upload 8 months ago. It's actually a pretty nice video in regards to that. It feels like early YouTube days.
Oh, yeah.
Or it's just some guy on MS Paint trying to paint Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's done very poorly. Let me just give you a taste.
That's cool.
Oh, I just got to start from the beginning. Let me half that volume. There we go. And let's put this in theater mode.
I don't hear any sound from it.
And I'll just stop it there, just so we don't get murdered on the YouTube end. Which we have not yet, so yay. But as you can see just from looking at the page, it's very similar to YouTube in terms of the layout, Plus, you got the stuff that you can't get on YouTube, at least not for free, like being able to download videos like so, where it gives you the option of which type of resolution you want to download in.
I love that option.
And then you click on it, and there you go. You can go ahead and download it directly here, right onto your computer. And it also has some pretty unique share stuff, because you not only have all the buttons to share to various social media sites like you would on YouTube, but you even have a share code section where you could share your video's code, like embed iframe, embed object, embed as a link to HTML or a link to BB code or whatever. You can literally embed your videos directly into your websites and blogs simply by copying and pasting these provided boxes, which makes it so much easier if you're running like a website or a blog and you want to embed your videos from Quarter onto it or Joshua TV onto it. You don't have to be a coding whiz. You literally just have to know how to copy and paste and where to paste it to. And then it's that easy to embed videos on your other websites. And then, of course, you can add to playlists, and you have the different kinds of links that you have. And one of the things that's unique about Joshua TV and Quarter is that it actually includes some other websites that normally don't have share to buttons, like Gab and CloutHub. Of course, there's a lot more they could add to that, but I'm sure that'll be another project for.
Of course, CloutHub and Gab never reciprocates back.
Yeah. But yeah, I basically offer the same features and functionality as Joshua TV and Quarter. I just have a few differences with user interface and the way Insight Currency works, and also just the fact that, what's the other thing that's different? I'm drawing a blank. It'll come back to me later at some point. But before I created Quarter, I actually have been running a Facebook alternative called Creation Social since December of 2021. I do need to sit down with my tech guy and update the site script so that I can install a bunch of new features that will make this site incredibly awesome. But if you've ever been looking for a Facebook or Twitter alternative, because Facebook, Twitter hybrids are the rage these days, then Creation Social is something for you. Basically, anything you could do on Facebook, you can do on Creation Social, as far as making posts, sharing pictures, creating polls. I think you can tag locations, tag people. You can even do colored backgrounds. You can do groups. You can play games on the site, which if you go exploring my games tab, you can even play Doom 2 on my website, which no other social media site can brag about that. You can also create blogs. You can sell stuff on the marketplace, and you can even create group chat rooms. And those are just going to be the beginning features once I fully upgrade the site here in the near future. But I saw all the censorship that was going on Facebook and Twitter, in the last several years. And then when I saw Gab going down that direction too, I was like, oh no, that ain't going to stand. I got to make my own. And
Exactly.
since Gab has been morphing into a Facebook alternative rather than Twitter anyway, I decided to create Creation Social as it is. I haven't checked recently, but I think I have at least 855 registered users on the site after a couple of years. And once I upgrade the site to what I want it to be and start promoting it heavily again, I think Creation Social has the potential to be a nice, lively place, at least for those who want it. So that is something, if you guys are looking for a Facebook alternative, you definitely should check out. Creation.social is the URL, I should say. And freedom is the name of the game at Creation Social. Freedom to say and do whatever you want, as long as it doesn't violate the First Amendment of the United States of America, which is the country that this is hosted in. So obviously it should honor that. And this is generally a place, at least when I envisioned this site when I was making it, this is a place not just for content creators to share their content, but it's also a place for content creators, followers and fans and subscribers, etc., to basically interact with their favorite creators or to become creators themselves or to become friends with each other. Basically, it's like a social media site I had content creators in mind for when I made it, but anybody can use it. But I specifically had content creators in mind when I made it because I wanted a place for them to be able to interact with their fans in a more personal way and in a more free way than mainstream social media allows. So that's kind of why I made Creation Social. All right. How are we all doing?
Great.
Okay, Tony, calm down. So, was there anything you were bringing to the show, Brett, in terms of topics? I know we've gone over a lot of stuff in the last 2 hours, but I always like to give a fair shake.
Well, as far as social media sites go, I feel like a lot of them are going. I think a lot of these sites opened not for the same reason that you and Josh had, where you guys were offering opportunities for people to be able to speak their mind, but a lot of them opened pretty much like Kickstarter to grab people's money while people felt silenced. People really wanted to have that power to support their favorite orange man, and they weren't able to do it. And they were taken advantage of. That's what I feel about Gab and Bitchute and all that. I wouldn't be surprised if Bitchute, the entire site, one of these days goes down pretty quick and all that content gone.
Yeah, I can envision that happening very easily.
I do too.
Especially if it's government forced. You will shut down your website. You'll hurt too many people's feelings. Okay.
I sense either BlackRock buying out these platforms like Rockfin and everything, or they're gonna probably go bankrupt and shut down. It's one or the other.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards the bankrupt part, but hey, what do I know? I mean, if all the fan donations they've been losing, you'd think they'd have shut down by now, but
Right.
Something's keeping them afloat.
Ain't gonna be for long.
Yeah. Especially if Rumble keeps getting bigger and bigger in terms of the people using it.
Oh, it will. It will. There's so much money behind Rumble. What they're gonna do. I mean, this is literally just they've been doing this, for so long. We watched it so many times. How many times do we watch D Live transform? But what they're gonna do is they're gonna get everybody nice and comfortable on Rumble. As soon as everybody's nice and cozy, that's when they're gonna start locking things down. They're gonna start going, okay, well, now you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't, and it's gonna just keep taking off until they have nothing. They have board members. They have like 100-something people on their board member. It's like they got more board members than Pfizer. What company ever lasts with that much payouts going to people that literally have nothing to really do with the platform?
Yeah, that's kind of weird for a social media site to have a board that big.
It's weird. They got MTV. They actually got real like Hollywood producer people behind this stuff. And
yeah, I noticed that if you go through Rumble's front page, like you'll find links to the UFC channel and a bunch of mainstream comedians and whatnot. And
Nickelodeon. Yep.
Yeah, Rumble's starting to become mainstream, and that's both funny and interesting, but it's also scary because
it's going to become just like the news networks, all bought out.
Or just like YouTube.
Exactly.
Which YouTube's kind of been trending towards being a television provider anyway, and not really a user-generated video site.
Which is so stupid. I've been telling them. I told them a long time ago. They would have it so simple if they just made Google TV. Leave it alone. Keep YouTube. That way it's just us creators, and then have Google TV for TV. Boom! Right. How easy of a world that would have been.
Oh, but see, we got to socially engineer those YouTube people, so no.
It's sad.
Yeah, it's a very sad world that we live in, tech-wise. Sadly, people like you and me, Josh, and Brett, if he decides to create another social media site in the future, we're always going to be at this point in time behind the 8 ball in terms of people using our
Absolutely.
sites because
My
of all that stuff. But
as far as doing like video sites and all that, I definitely have no plans of ever creating one myself, but I would be more than happy to work with people who are already established and doing stuff like that. But it's like with live stream and what we're doing right now, I prefer a focused, concentrated main host than me doing all the yapping. You get my point?
Absolutely.
yeah, I agree with you on that. It's always good when you have someone who can drive the conversation for a while.
Yep.
Which is why I need to get some people onto my other podcast to do presentations for an hour. Just to bring more variety to that show.
Well, I like the way you do the titles and the way you do your thumbnails. You're basically saying this is what we're going to talk about. This is the topics. And then a person knows what they're getting themselves into. With mine, I got to wait until somebody comes in and they usually got something stupid to say and I got to slap them around a little bit. And as funny as that is, you know?
Exactly.
Right. Ooh. There's apparently 2 people watching me from my channel on YouTube and 4 people watching from Brett's channel. That's cool.
Wow.
One of the problems on this whole, what I've learned is it's usually later whenever a bunch of people come in and they watch this thing. I don't know what it is, but I've had a lot of people complain saying, why didn't I get a notification for this? They get confused between the bell and the thing. I don't know why we got a bell for whenever if you're subscribed, you should already get info about what the person's doing. What do I need a bell for? Am I a cow now?
Right.
Right. Yeah,
That was one of the things I hated about that was how in the old days of YouTube, if you were subscribed to someone, everything that they put out, you would get a notification for, or it would show up on your main page, or you'd have some kind of notification in your sidebar that indicated to you, hey, they upload a new video. But then they started hiding all of that, and now you got to hit a bell if you want to see all of their upload notifications. It's like, I don't understand why they did that, unless they were just, that whole social engineering thing I keep thinking about. But yeah, it's like Josh said, they have no idea how much money they would have made if they had just stayed away from the censorship stuff and the media and TV in general and just focused on their creators this whole time. Basically, YouTube could have been even better than what Twitter is now in terms of paying creators.
Well, that's like asking a narcissist to give a damn.
Right.
But then again, even if...
That's why I try to explain to this world, like all the people out there that always deny when you're trying to tell them something's being done to them. They're like, why did Jeffrey Dahmer kill? Are you ever really going to connect that dot?
I always thought because he was hungry.
Oh, that's horrible. No.
It's crazy. It's like I just don't know what people are expecting. Like, why would they think that?
Okay, quit that. Sorry, just thinking out loud, closing things down. But yeah, it's kind of weird that people would have those kind of questions regarding a serial killer who doesn't need a reason to kill you.
Well, I mean, look at the kind of decisions these liberals and Democrats have been making. They've ruined a lot of franchises because they care more about their political nonsense than the actual story. They ruined something like Star Wars and Indiana Jones because they wanted to push it. And they lost billions of dollars, and Disney does not seem to learn from its mistakes. That's another video entirely, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're doing it also with video game franchises. Like they killed off Gears of War a couple of years ago, and that one really annoyed me.
Did I tell you
loved that franchise until they did that.
Did I tell you why I think that YouTube is now offering a slice and how many subscribers and views you need in order to get a partnership with them now?
So why do you think? Why do you think they lowered the requirements?
Because I think they're going to go through a big ass purging of knocking down these huge conservatives out here, and then they're offering new people. Oh, if you get on here, we'll do this. They're getting rid of a lot of big people. If you type in people lost their channel or demonetized, dude, you could make an entire movie about the thousands who lost everything on this.
Yeah, that is true.
On Rumble?
On YouTube.
On YouTube.
Oh yeah. Well,
YouTube
I'm
is now offering, Josh, they're now offering that if you have 500 subs, new users could get a partnership. And I think the only reason why they're offering this cool stuff is because, for one, people are running to Rumble and other places looking for alternatives. But I also think they're silencing a lot of people and taking away people's way to make money. So they're trying to get in new people while they still have a chance.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you have to have, the new rules say you have to have 500 subs. You have to have at least 3 uploads in the last 3 months, and you have to have one of two things. Either 3,000 hours of watch time over the previous 12 months, or 3 million YouTube Shorts views in the last, 90 days.
Now, if you go look at the terms of service now, TTOR, you'll notice that they made it even more vague. And they did like Bitchute, where they said, we can get rid of you anytime we want, just to let you know, so they don't have any kind of lawyers up their ass whenever they decide to drop people. But when you get a chance later, type in people who've been demonetized, and it's just buttloads and lists of people who got screwed.
Oh, I know. It was a huge list even 4 years ago, and I'm sure it's grown exponentially since.
I have a prediction, folks, before we end the show and everything. The more Trump gets more power, the ability to be able to get to be the next president again, I guarantee you're going to see a lot of big people go bye-bye. I wouldn't be surprised if Laura Loomer went bye-bye as well.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Which is funny because I've seen some Ron DeSantis supporters recently complaining on Twitter that they are being shadow banned because they are not pro-Trump, and they find these pro-Trump accounts that have less of a following than them. They're being not censored, and they're being boosted, and they're getting more traffic than they are, even though they are a bigger account technically. So yeah, it's kind of funny to hear that be said by Brett as a prediction, because right now there are people complaining that Twitter is pro-Trump and DeSantis supporters are being censored. But then again, we're talking about people who support a man who recently claimed that the Donald Trump admin is the one that did the Hunter Biden story cover-up regarding his laptop.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? So you're saying Trump censored himself in order to screw over his own campaign?
No, I really think that Trump has a good chance of actually winning this time, but it's not because of his merits. It's not because of some of the stuff he's accomplished. Now the American people are looking at it like this. I have a choice between this guy or a retard, and that's it. At this point, people are willing to vote for Barney the damn dinosaur before doing Biden or somebody like him.
Exactly.
Well, that's partially why he won in 2016 as well, as we went through, 8 years of George W. Bush and 8 years
Hillary.
of Obama, and we were tired of all those people running the show, and so there was no way in hell the American people were going to let Hillary win.
I know. Just the thought of Hillary was disgusting. It made people's stomachs turn.
I know for me personally, when I think about what Trump did in 4 years as president, even though it's not to the level I would have liked, I think he did a pretty decent job as a president overall. And I would much rather have him back in office than the current Yahoo
Absolutely.
on a marionette puppet strings that we have right now.
Absolutely.
Oh, he's got tons of accomplishments, man. I did a video with an entire list, man, and I couldn't even finish out the list. There was so many of them, over 1,000 accomplishments. One of the great things he did that nobody ever talks about is he made it to where if somebody is dying or they're going through some kind of fatal sickness, they can get whatever drugs they
Yep, free
need,
to
even
try.
the experimental. And a lot of people don't even say nothing about that. That's been something people wanted for years.
Mm-hmm. Free to try.
But evil Orange Man did it, so it doesn't count. You gotta be quiet about that.
And your Medicare, Medicaid, whatever would pay for that, and it would be anything that you want. If you're clearly on your deathbed, your doctor authorizes that you're dying right now. This is literally what you could do, and that Trump did that.
Yes, he did, and we are all thankful for it.
You didn't plan on mentioning the dark skies in this one, or is that for a later topic?
Oh, you mean what they plan on doing to the sun?
Well, to our atmosphere, they want to spray some chemicals into our atmosphere to darken the planet.
New.
Well, basically to block out the sun. They want to do.
We got to stop talking about it like it's something that they're not already doing. We really have to, because this is what they're doing. This is literally a psyop within itself. Right now, they're discussing that this is what we're going to be doing now. No, that's what they've been doing for the last 20-something years.
But the sun hasn't been blocked out yet, like they're talking about doing.
Not completely yet. No. But literally, all the people that's been running these solar farms and everything, look at what they've been recording. They said that they're not getting anything what they used to get 20 years ago.
And TTOR, when you get an opportunity, there's a few people who've mentioned this, but it sounds right out of an old movie that a lot of us used to like a long time ago, Highlander 2, the movie, where they actually darkened the sky, but that didn't turn out so well. Unless you were immortal, it kind of sucked.
Well, like 2 months ago, I was showing my girlfriend the original Matrix movie, and one of the things about that movie's storyline is that in the real world, you can't see the sun and the skies are darkened with horrible clouds, because what the humans thought at one point was that, well, the machines are solar powered, so if we block out the sun, then they'll all just die because they won't have any energy to live on. Their batteries will run out. And so the humans detonate some nukes up in the sky that block out the sun across the entire planet. And of course, it didn't win the war at all. It just made things worse for them. And the machines end up winning and doing all their stuff. But when I see the Biden admin talking about blocking out the sun in the name of combating climate change, I just think of the Matrix.
You know, my wife
part of the Matrix story.
My wife was browsing the internet and she found this website popped up on her and said, hey, you can get solar panels for real cheap and stuff. And she goes, what do you think of that, honey? I said, there's no point. They're going to darken the sky soon.
Exactly.
And we'll be, won't be able to watch our favorite TV shows.
That's right. They do all that work to promote solar powered technology, and now they're going to make it useless by blocking out the sun.
It's literally on purpose. It's because they control energy. They always controlled who gets to have energy. And this is literally something that they purposely are doing because they know people are actually mastering on collecting solar energy. Now we could dim the skies. Let's keep putting particles, more and more particles. Every single day we keep losing more daylight.
I did not notice that while I was out baking in the sun during fireworks season, but
it's that heavy.
I'm sure they are doing it in some places, though, like you're saying. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Because after all, if we're going to give God the big middle finger and basically make ourselves the thing that God is supposed to be, then we might as well go ahead and start messing with his creation.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I literally got the patents. I got the pictures of the actual soldiers that are flying the planes, the tankers, the sprayers, the nozzles that they attach to the planes, the commercial planes that they actually converted to these. But we got a lot of, documented things about them doing this the last 20-something years and still doing it right now. That's why when I see all these new articles talking today about Bill Gates dimming the sun, this is literally how they manipulate everything, the media, history, everything. Now it's going to record this as this is when they just started talking about it. if everybody keeps continuing playing along with this, that's how people are going to see this in history 20 years from now.
That sounds pretty bleak, but hey, what do I know? I simply follow a book that says things are going to get really bleak before the Savior comes back, so I mean, I don't know how else to process that. Other than file it under just one more nasty thing that's going to happen before the kingdom comes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be a pleasant world here in about 7 years. I mean, just from 2018 to now, things have gotten so much worse, and the stuff they're talking about doing, I can only imagine what things will be like in another 7 years. You know, for that target date of 2030.
It's plenty of time to take it back. It really
And
is.
plus, it makes me think about Raelianism, that alien UFO cult that teaches that, you know, the Earth was made by aliens and all life on Earth was seeded by aliens. And basically, these aliens, they're going to come back in 2035 and we need to prepare the Earth for their arrival. And, you know, there's like the whole UN. There's like the whole UN agenda 2030 that's trying to, you know, radically change the way things go on Earth before 2030. Which makes me wonder if there's a connection.
Technically, something that's from out of this universe did seed this planet. We just don't know. Well, we know what, but we just don't. We've never seen or met him, or you know. But that would be an alien by definition.
You know, it has always seemed popular, the idea of aliens coming to the planet, but I don't often hear about people suggesting that maybe they have already been here for a long period of time. We just haven't been able to notice them because they blend in.
Oh, I think that's definitely a big thing. Why wouldn't they?
If I were an alien, though, and I floated past this planet and seen what was going on it, I'd probably say, next planet, maybe. Let's grab a few. Let's grab a few cows before we go, though. I could handle some Angus beef and then move on.
Especially if you see the United States Health Administrator.
Talk about nightmare fuel. Although I am thinking of that Babylon Bee video skit they did recently, where these aliens come to the Earth and then they have these humans explain to them all the different genders. Just the confused look on the alien's face as he's listening to all this nonsense.
Right?
What? What do you mean you have 144 different genders? Oh, I'm sorry. I just lowballed the number. I meant infinite.
They'd be like, oh, these are all mental patients. We could just easily take over this planet.
Oh, there you go.
They probably are already here.
Am I the only one who heard Josh go bloop for about 10 seconds?
Oh, he's been going. Maybe there's some kind of frequency issue or some kind of internet.
My connection, I could tell it's going in and out.
Are you sure it's not the aliens?
It could be the aliens. You never know.
You know what the big alien plot is, right? Convince all the children in the world that they are no longer the gender they are, so they'll quit reproducing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boom.
Funny how that works.
It's sad. But you could teach a child to honestly do anything, so I'm not shocked.
Yeah. Because after all, they don't have the cognitive skills to challenge what they're being told. So
exactly. That's literally what happened. That's 100% what's happening right before everybody's eyes. It's clear child abuse. There's no other word for it.
And that's one of the things that always, irked me about the atheist community, especially back in like 10 years ago, They always talked about how wrong it was for Christian parents to teach their children the biblical worldview because, well, you see, your child doesn't have the cognitive abilities to challenge or decide for themselves whether you're telling them the truth or not. And so you shouldn't be teaching your children the biblical worldview, even though your book commands you to. But then they turned right around not that long ago in The Guardian and say, well, we need to start teaching evolution to children at the ages of 5 to 8 through picture storybooks. Because you see, if we wait until they're older to start teaching them about evolution, then their intuitive belief in intelligent design and some kind of God will kick in and cement, and it'll be hard to indoctrinate them into our worldview. But if we do it when they're 5 to 8 years old, they don't have the cognitive abilities to challenge us. And so they'll just believe whatever we tell them about the atheistic evolutionary worldview. That always irks me about that.
I don't know if you've noticed in a couple of my videos I've done recently, but if they cared so much about children and what children learn, why did they found NAMBLA for one? And number two, why is it in atheist countries where they lead the government, they have the highest child porn distribution of all times? If they care so much about the cognitive whereabouts of the child.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, they care about the children, all right. Winky dink dink.
Yeah. Just as much as Epstein cared about him, you know.
Or Pleasure Island from the Pinocchio movie.
Oh,
oof,
man.
That's rough.
Man, that was a darker movie than I remembered when I rewatched that part. I'm like, wait a minute, this is in a kid's film? What the hell was I exposed to as a kid?
Right.
Oh. But then again, I go back and watch a lot of the sci-fi dystopian thrillers that I've watched over the years, and I rewatched them as an adult, and I start seeing things going on today that remind me of those things very much, and it's like, oh my gosh. It's like they're trying to take every dystopian no-no that we've been told and make it reality. It's just the craziest thing. Anywho, I need to get off and get dinner and do some work on upgrading Quarter because I need to turn on the shorts function and do other things. So I think we'll end the show. I think we'll end the show here. And yeah, we'll definitely see you again in the future. But I've had a fun show.
The last thing I'd say, TTOR, is next time you open one, just do like you did before, where you send a link and let me know, and I'll get her going. Let's get some topics going.
Sweet deal.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't have to do another month of fireworks for another 11 months, so I'll have more time to do that.
All right, man. You have a good night. You guys have a wonderful evening, night, or whatever time it is. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.